Well, we start here with the events of Saturday. With the count still ongoing, as I said, and a recount in Georgia not even started, legal challenges still being mounted. In other words, when the matter of who actually won the election was still very much up in the air, the media decided that it had seen enough and declared Joe Biden the winner. Now, as to this decision, I will maintain my radical stance that we can never know who won any election until all legal votes have been counted and accusations of improprieties have been investigated and litigated. That hasn't happened yet in this case. So we remain in limbo, whether the media chooses to acknowledge it or not. But none of that stopped Joe Biden from taking to the stage, delivering his victory speech, a speech that I thought was breathtaking in its dishonesty, phoniness, arrogance. Granted that dishonesty, phoniness, arrogance, this is the general tenor of almost any political victory speech or political speech of any other kind. But this one managed to raise the bar by several notches, I think. Let's listen to some of the speech. I'm sorry to do this to you, but I must. So let's listen.
Tonight, we're seeing all over this nation, all cities and all parts of the country, indeed across the world, an outpouring of joy, of hope, renewed faith in tomorrow. Bring a better day.
Okay, let's stop it there for just a moment. Yes, about that outpouring of joy in cities across the country. It was an outpouring of something, certainly. Joy is one word for it, not the word I would use, but one word. Here's footage of one such outpouring. This is in D.C. Thousands of people all crammed together. I'm told there was a lot of dancing in the street. They were so happy they were dancing. Good for them. I guess if you're a business owner in one of these cities, you'd rather have them drinking in celebration from the wine bottles than lighting them on fire and throwing them through your window. So that's an improvement. But of course, the question does arise as you look at these images. Did Joe Biden defeat COVID that quickly? I knew it'd be quick. I mean, he did promise to shut down the virus. I just didn't think it'd take him 30 minutes to do it. That's pretty impressive. Or is this yet another example of the coronavirus being politically enlightened? We already knew that it will spare you if you're a BLM activist or a mourner at a funeral for a prominent Democrat. Will it also pass over you like the angel of death in Egypt if you're expressing joy about Donald Trump allegedly being voted out of office? Is this the coronavirus being politically enlightened or even just kind of chill? Maybe it's going, hey, they're having a good time. I'm not going to go getting them all sick and stuff, bro. Let's not ruin the party, okay? Now, I can make a joke about it, but it's actually not funny, especially if your child has been going to school on his computer for a year, not getting a real education, or your grandfather had to die alone with no visitors, or your business was destroyed. All of that had to happen, they told us, to keep us safe. But these clowns can have their party in the middle of the street. Oh, and remember, a lot of these people are the same ones who were too afraid to go to the polls to vote. They were too afraid to participate in the election in person, but not too afraid to celebrate the ostensible result of the election in person. Right. It's a farce. It's a travesty. Speaking of farces, back to Joe's speech.
I pledge to be a president who seeks not to divide, but unify. Who doesn't see red states and blue states, only sees the United States. And work with all my heart, with the confidence of the whole people, to win the confidence of all of you. And for that is what America, I believe, is about. It's about people. And that's what our administration will be all about. I sought this office to restore the soul of America, to rebuild the backbone of this nation, the middle class, and to make America respected around the world again, and to unite us here at home.
Now, parts of that were indecipherable, par for the course, of course. He's a dementia patient, and it was past sundown. But from what I could gather, Biden wants to unite us, heal us, bring us together, and, quote, restore our soul. I'm not sure how a soul is restored, much less how a president can do it. Is it something that you do through executive order, legislation, the Soul Restoration Act of 2021? Is that what's coming? Well, let's not get bogged down on the details, I guess. The point simply is that we didn't have souls before, and now we do because a 78-year-old career politician says he's our new president. There's this long-standing theological debate, very interesting, about ensoulment. When does the soul enter the human body? Is it at conception, some other point? Well, it turns out it's not conception, it's election. The election of Joe Biden. That's how we all get souls. Good to have that sorted out finally. Now, Joe believes he's onto something with this shtick. He's been tweeting like a fortune cookie for the past 48 hours, declaring that we're now united, strengthened, healed. We have full hearts and steady hands, he said. We are running arm in arm through fields of daffodils, rainbows stretched across the sky, unicorns fly overhead. All is right in the world now because Uncle Joe is here to sniff our hair and tell us it's okay. The media has dutifully latched onto this theme as well. A Time to Heal announces the Time magazine cover, and the vaguely sentient bag of farts, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio, also came out to celebrate our liberation by Joe Biden and our opportunity to heal. Here's what he had to say.
It's liberation. It's just joyous. People have felt this weight and a sense of we're divided, and we shouldn't be that way. And now there's a feeling that anything's possible, that we can heal again, that we can move forward. And look, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did something amazing. This is turning out to be a huge victory all over the country, but it's also the beginning of the healing. That's what we need in this country, this city, everywhere.
But you know, it's an odd thing, this healing, this unity, this liberation. Even as Biden lays his healing hands upon us and keeps them there for an uncomfortably long time, other Democrats like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are busy compiling enemies lists of people who supported Trump. Something called the Trump Accountability Project has been formed for the purpose of blacklisting anyone who committed the crime of wrongthink over the past 4 years. It appears that before we can hold hands and amid the flowers and sing our songs of joy, a few, say 70 million or so, heretics must be burned at the stake. Joe forgot to mention that part. The healing will commence only after his enemies have been brought before him and slain. But I suppose that doesn't sound quite as inspiring in a speech. And that's all this unity and healing stuff really is. It's fodder for speeches. And these are speeches given by a man who belongs to the ideological and political club which has, for the past several years, insisted that all of their opponents are bigots, racists, or worse, and not worthy of acceptance in polite society. Anyone who threatens their agenda or defies their wishes can be slandered, smeared, ripped to shreds, labeled a gang rapist, even if that's what it takes. And he will deserve it because he is, in fact, worse than a gang rapist. He's an inconvenience to them. In recent months, they've taken this Machiavellian gospel to the streets, burning and looting, making victims of their fellow Americans, none of whom did anything in particular to incur their wrath. These are people who will tell you that if you belong to a certain race, white, and sex, male, you are fundamentally and irretrievably broken. You are racist by your very nature, probably sexist too. And they've told us we can't come together under the flag or as Americans because America is systemically racist, a global disgrace. Its heroes are all monsters whose monuments must be defiled and destroyed. But now a man steps out from among this group of marauders and bullies and arsonists and thieves and smear merchants and bids us to unite. Unite around what? For what? What commonality, what shared sense of purpose, what universal goal or value is supposed to bind us together right now, Joe? I wouldn't know how to unite with Joe Biden and his ilk, even if I wanted to, which frankly I don't. Mainly because I know the answer to my own questions. We are meant to unite in submission to the Democrat Party and its doctrines. We are meant to come together around the Democrats and their hollow vessel of a leader to say congratulations and hooray and we agree and about 4 or 5 other approved sentiments. This is the unity for which Joe Biden pleads. I have won, so now we can be friends as long as you follow the orders, he says to us with a magnanimous smile. Well, call me ungrateful, but I don't find this pitch very appealing nor believable. I don't like division, but I'll take it over a false and empty unity around a false and empty man. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there so you can stay up to date on all of our future content.